Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs was on the scene of one of the most high-profile rapper assassinations in history. If you're thinking someone should really make a documentary about his life, he's already beat you to it.
Appreciate life, and it made me want to do things for the greater good.
It all goes back to one point. So I have a dream. A lot of times people see your dreams as they crazy.
What's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? That's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape. If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as
special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you could read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you.
Across the history of hip-hop, there have always been a few figures you simply don't want to challenge. Most artists try to keep conflicts quiet, throwing subtle lines into records, sending coded messages, or handling disputes privately behind closed doors. But every once in a while, someone comes along who doesn't move that way at all. Instead of avoiding attention, they lean into it. They turn tension into a public spectacle, making every conflict loud, visible, and impossible to ignore. For these individuals, friction isn't something to escape, it's fuel. And few people in hip-hop history have embodied that mindset more clearly than 50 Cent.
I can't say that I can resolve a situation or a beef with somebody that I can't stand this nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not this ain't WWF. It's not like I just got rap beef with this nigga. I don't like
50 doesn't just participate in conflicts, he dominates them. Every time his name is attached to tension, it could come from the front page news, interviews explode, social media catches fire, and the entire industry pauses to watch how it unfolds. For him, confrontation has never been a weakness. It's been a strategy, one that helped define his legacy. Most fans already know the most famous example. His long-running clash with Ja Rule didn't just shift careers, it changed the language of hip-hop culture itself. The fallout was so one-sided that getting Ja ruled became slang. Not just for losing a lyrical battle, but for being completely erased from relevance. When someone's momentum disappears overnight, when their image never fully recovers, people still use that phrase decades later. That alone shows how deep 50's impact runs. He didn't just win a rivalry, he reshaped how dominance in hip-hop is measured.
I'd like to have nothing, all right? And had to rebuild my life over $6,700 a month.
he's been trained to believe what you seen him say in that interview when I said that he's entitled. Really, it's his mom's entitlement. It's been filled.
What makes 50 different is that his willingness to confront doesn't stop at industry rivals. Even personal matters have played out publicly. When his relationship with his son, Marquis Jackson, became strained, 50 didn't handle it quietly. He spoke openly, harshly, and without restraint. The comments shocked many fans, not because celebrity families never struggle, but because most people draw a line when it comes to private family issues. 50 didn't. And that moment reinforced something the public already suspected. When he feels crossed, no relationship is protected. Fame, blood ties, history, none of it guarantees safety from his words. Now, years later, it appears that 50 Cent may have delivered what many believe is his most calculated move yet.
Reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was stuck.
This time, the focus isn't a rival rapper fighting for relevance. It's one of the most powerful figures the music industry has ever produced. Sean Combs, also known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, spent decades building an empire that stretched far beyond music. Fashion, television, alcohol brands, media platforms, his name represented success at the highest level. For years, Diddy wasn't just respected, he was...
Sean Combs watches this. What do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
Untouchable. But that image has changed dramatically. In recent years, stories, lawsuits, and public scrutiny have piled up as Balt's Wustasi heads slowly chipping away at the polished persona that once surrounded him. And through it all, 50 Cent hasn't rushed. He's watched. He's waited. And when the moment was right, he stepped in with precision. What we're witnessing now isn't just criticism. It's a full-scale dismantling of an image that took decades to construct. Diddy's reputation, once carefully managed and widely admired, now feels unstable. The confidence, the influence, the protection he once appeared to have, all of it looks weaker than ever.
Come to the tough guy and a hardcore rapping, you can't do that. Like when I met him, he was writing raps for Diddy on Forever, right? And this is after he got poked up. This is after Gotti and them poked him up in the Hit Factory, and he ran to the cops, and he got an order of protection. And he was walking around with the police. NYPD was holding him down. Swear to God. He was in Daddy's house, in the lounge, and he had security. And
Many people have tried to explain this downfall. Interviews, podcasts, social media threads, and long-form investigations have all attempted to map out what went wrong. Some accounts focus on excess, others focus on betrayal. Some describe chaotic behavior that had been whispered about for years, but never fully examined in public. Yet, none of those efforts landed with the same force as the latest project that pushed everything into overdrive. A 4-part Netflix documentary titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning has ignited conversation across the industry. And what makes it even more significant is who stands behind it. The series was executive produced by 50 Cent himself.
He said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what the guy says to him.
This wasn't a casual release. It was carefully structured, tightly edited, and deliberately timed. The documentary walks through each stage of Diddy's career, connecting past moments to present controversies in a way that feels intentional rather than accidental. Each episode builds on the last, painting a picture of how long-standing patterns eventually collide with reality. What sets this project apart is its tone. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't rely on shock alone. Instead, it blends history, testimony, and narrative pacing to keep viewers locked in. Old moments take on new meaning. Decisions once overlooked are re-examined. And by the time the series reaches its later chapters, the past no longer feels distant. It feels unresolved.
We like go shopping or some shit. I mean, like I paid for it. And I was like, what the fuck this nigga just say? I got the fuck away from him because I was like, this nigga, like, fucking, wait, this nigga just tell me he'd take me shopping. Well, there's a little fruit, probably a fruit pile.
Before getting into the documentary itself, it's important to understand where the tension between 50 Cent and Diddy actually began. Long before streaming dominance, before chart-topping albums and billion-dollar brands, 50 entered the industry with a confrontational mindset. His 1999 track, How to Rob, wasn't subtle. It directly mentioned some of the biggest names in hip-hop at the time, including Diddy. It wasn't just provocation for attention. It was a declaration. That song made it clear that 50 wasn't impressed by power, fame, or industry hierarchy. He was willing to challenge anyone, regardless of status. Not long after, 50 experienced one of the most defining moments of his life. Surviving a near-fatal incident that could have ended everything reshaped both his career and his image. From that point on, he wasn't just another rapper trying to break through. He became a symbol of resilience. His voice changed. His presence changed. His music carried weight because it was tied to survival, not marketing. Fans didn't just listen, they believed him.
About that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes.
What? I'm a nice guy.
Yo, why are you and 50?
Hey, yo.
Why y'all not?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me.
But see,
You really, hold on, you really think that's hate? When you really break it down, you've been out here a long time. You know he loves me.
I don't think he like you.
Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him.
As his career progressed into the early 2000s, his path crossed with Diddy's more directly. According to 50, there was a period where he contributed creatively behind the scenes, helping shape material that later appeared under Diddy's name. These claims weren't left unchallenged or ignored. Former Bad Boy artist Shine publicly confirmed aspects of that story, adding credibility to something many fans had never considered. It reframed their connection. Before rivalry, there was proximity. Before conflict, there was collaboration. And that's where the story truly begins to complicate. At that point, the tension between 50 Cent and Diddy still felt playful on the surface. It came off more like slick jokes and subtle jabs than any real hostility. Lines were being tossed back and forth, but nothing had fully crossed into open confrontation yet. Most fans saw it as competitive energy, the kind of banter that had always existed between big names in hip-hop. But behind the scenes, things were already shifting. 50 Cent later explained that early in his career, something happened that completely changed how he viewed Diddy. According to 50, Diddy once offered to take him shopping. On paper, that might sound harmless, even generous. But to 50, the situation felt strange. He joked that it was the kind of gesture someone makes when they're trying to impress a romantic interest, not a fellow artist or competitor. That moment stuck with him. 50 has since said that the offer made him uncomfortable and caused him to question Diddy's intentions. It wasn't anger right away, more like confusion mixed with suspicion. Looking back, 50 described it as the moment where he started seeing Diddy differently, like the boundaries weren't as clear as they should have been. Later on, 50 joked that he felt like Diddy was testing the waters, seeing how he would react and how far he could go. He compared it to someone dipping their toes in just to see the response. It became one of those stories fans replayed over and over, not because of what happened, but because of what it suggested. Not long after those comments started circulating, Diddy finally addressed the situation publicly. As expected, he didn't respond with anger. Instead, he brushed it off with confidence and humor, acting like none of it bothered him. On the surface, it looked calm and controlled, but for many people watching, his reaction only raised more questions. By the mid-2000s, 50 Cent was no longer just another rapper. He had become a global force. Hit records, massive sales, and constant chart dominance turned him into one of the most influential artists in the world. At that point, he wasn't chasing validation. He was setting trends. And it wasn't just music. 50 was securing major endorsement deals, expanding his brand, and turning himself into a full-scale business powerhouse. While many artists focused only on albums and tours, 50 was thinking long-term. He launched his own record label, pushed a successful clothing line, and made strategic investments that paid off in a major way. Every move showed that he wasn't just participating in the industry, he was learning how to control it. That's what separated him from most people in the game. The only person many compared him to in that sense was Eminem. Both had that rare combination of commercial success, street credibility, and sharp business instincts. 50 wasn't just making money from music, he was building infrastructure. From the outside, it looked like 50 had everything Diddy had worked years to achieve. Fame, wealth, respect, and influence across multiple worlds. The streets respected him, and mainstream audiences embraced him. That balance is rare, and it gave 50 a presence that couldn't be bought. Watching things unfold now, it's easy to understand why some believe Diddy may have felt threatened. Even as a mogul, Diddy built his image carefully. But 50 carried a raw confidence that didn't feel manufactured. When he entered a room, attention followed naturally. That kind of presence changes dynamics. By 2005, 50 Cent had firmly cemented himself as a heavyweight.
Again, you guys know, without a doubt, I promote vitamin water the best. Vitamin water! None of those other guys.
Artists, both new and established, wanted to sign with G-Unit, hoping to benefit from the momentum he had created. His label wasn't just hot, it was a movement. During an interview on The Howard Stern Show, 50 shared another story that added fuel to the growing tension. He revealed that rapper Ma Dollar E had been close to signing with G-Unit. According to 50, the deal collapsed after Diddy allegedly demanded a massive payout just to release Ma Dollar E from his Bad Boy contract. That demand stopped everything. For 50, it felt like another example of control, money being used as leverage to block moves that didn't benefit Diddy directly. Situations like that only deepened the divide between them, and made the rivalry more personal. After that point, things changed completely. 50 stopped holding back. The jokes turned sharper.
So you bought the company?
No, so I ended up having about almost 10% of it.
And it was sold to Coca-Cola for you made $100 million?
Well, 4.1 billion, they actually.
The commentary got heavier. He began openly questioning Diddy's past and his role in major industry moments, including long-standing rumors that many artists were too afraid to mention publicly. In 2006, when 50 released The Bomb, fans immediately recognized it as more than just another record.
They were wanting to be one, but not positioned to be one street-wise, but positioned to be one industry-wise. And they call that a paper gangster.
From being an intern to being on the cover of the Rolling Stone. There you are in your underwear. Look at that.
Yeah. The energy was aggressive, calculated, and deliberate. Every line felt like a signal that he wasn't backing down from anyone, no matter how powerful. By then, it was clear. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was about dominance, influence, and control. The rivalry spilled into business as well. When Diddy pushed his vodka brand heavily, 50 responded by launching his own. He didn't just compete, he mocked the entire rollout, turning business competition into another public chess match. As usual, 50 leaned into humor, turning product rivalry into viral moments that fans repeated endlessly online. What looked like jokes on the surface were also strategic moves, keeping pressure on Diddy while strengthening his own brand. And just when people thought it couldn't get more personal, another layer entered the story involving Daphne Joy, 50's former partner and the mother of his son. Years after their relationship ended, photos surfaced showing her spending time with Diddy. That's when 50 turned the situation into public commentary once again. He made it clear he wasn't upset, but he wasn't going to stay quiet either. Using humor and timing, he kept the rivalry alive, blending personal history with long-standing tension in a way only he could. At that point, it was obvious this wasn't just about music or business anymore. There was history, ego, and unresolved energy driving everything forward. By this point, it was clear that this situation was no longer just industry gossip or long-standing rivalry. What had been quietly building for years finally came into full view. For over 2 decades, 50 Cent had openly questioned Diddy's character, often being dismissed as trolling or exaggeration.
Banks and Young Buck, otherwise known as G-Unit in the house. Give it up, y'all.
Yeah, what's up? Oh.
But as more details surfaced, many people began reevaluating those comments with a different lens. Seeing Daphne Joy, the mother of his child, publicly connected to someone he had criticized for years added a deeply personal layer to everything. Even for someone as thick-skinned as 50, that situation wasn't just uncomfortable, it was emotional. It blurred the line between professional rivalry and private life, and from that moment on, things escalated quickly. When legal filings and public allegations involving Diddy began circulating, the internet shifted from jokes to serious conversations. Music producer Rodney Jones filed a lawsuit that described troubling behind-the-scenes behavior and named several individuals as part of that environment.
So Sean P. Diddy Combs, you had a feud with him, but you made up, right?
Yeah, me and Puff, we had issues over the Mace project. He had given him the go-ahead to go find a new opportunity. And when Mace first came to me, he didn't actually have the material that I was excited about, but I let him come with me on a tour. And he created some material that I was excited about. And when we came back with me and Puff to try and make the deal, he was being unreasonable. Wow. I think he felt like Mace was like the last piece to his legacy, considering Biggie's not there and the Locks is gone. And
I never got paid what I was worth, and I never got the respect I was worth. So the disdain that I got for Puff is more like, you trying to keep me here, nigga. I'm not here. All my peers is up here. All my peers are bosses. When it's time, just like somebody raised somebody up, you know they did work with you, they go from your little man to maybe A&R to something else. He just kept trying to keep me right here, like he didn't want me to grow at anything.
Now, you called Puff Daddy a soft nigga in one of your songs, N-I-G-G-A, in one of your songs, but you're sorry you did that now, huh?
Well, I'm not sorry because I meant to.
While it's important to note that only one person has formally faced charges, the claims themselves changed public perception overnight. As expected, 50 Cent responded in his usual unfiltered style. Through social media posts and public appearances, he made it clear that he wasn't backing down. What some saw as trolling, others interpreted as someone finally saying out loud what many had been afraid to question. The situation became even more serious when 50 filed for full custody of his son, arguing that recent developments created an unsafe environment. Daphne Joy strongly denied those claims, calling them false and misleading. At that point, this was no longer about jokes or online back and forth. It became about family, protection, and control. Many believe this is exactly why 50 doubled down on his involvement in the Netflix documentary Sean Combs' The Reckoning. He didn't just lend his name, he actively helped connect producers with sources who had stayed silent for years. Those insiders reportedly felt safer speaking once someone with 50's influence stood behind the project. What followed was a deep dive into decades of alleged manipulation, power moves, and broken alliances. Viewers were shown a version of Diddy far removed from the polished public image, one focused on control, dominance, and self-preservation. One of the most unsettling themes explored was the idea that power was often used to influence personal relationships, not out of affection, but as leverage. The documentary framed these connections as part of a broader pattern, suggesting that influence mattered more than loyalty. For many viewers, this recontextualized moments from the past that once seemed harmless or misunderstood. Perhaps the most striking aspect was how confident Diddy appeared leading up to his legal troubles. Reports suggested he truly believed he would walk away untouched, even documenting his own version of events as if preparing a redemption story. Instead, that footage became part of the very narrative that dismantled his public image. What was meant to be a comeback turned into a full reckoning. And through it all, one thing became undeniable. 50 Cent does not let grudges fade. His conflicts don't disappear with time. They resurface when the moment is right. Whether you see him as calculated, relentless, or simply unapologetic, his role in bringing these conversations to the mainstream is impossible to ignore. So now the question shifts to the audience. Was this long overdue accountability, or did things go too far? Was 50 exposing uncomfortable truths or fueling chaos? Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment with your take. More deep dives are coming, and this story is far from over.